Hi guys, it's me, Dimension Battles, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a homemade TCG. So, I'm going to be teaching you how to make your own card game, and first off, I'm going to be showing you the paper I use. It's like the number one question I get asked. This is an updated version because part one I made 2 years ago. So here we go. For the paper I use this Mixed Media Strathmore 15 sheet, and it is, make sure to put that's 184 pounds, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I got this on Amazon, so now you guys know that. And then most of this stuff I get on Amazon, so yeah, this video is not sponsored. I also have Ultra Pro matte card sleeves, which are like this. You just look up on Amazon Ultra Pro matte, Yu-Gi-Oh sized, and then I just got the blue, which is what you see around the cards, because some of you guys think I laminate them, but it's just a card sleeve that you can just put on top of the card after you cut it out. So, for more supplies, I'm going to keep on showing you guys. I use, for the card size, for what I use, because I better get specific about this, I use, for the width, it's 6 centimeters, and then over here I use 8.5 centimeters. So yeah. Okay, and then for supplies, to start it off, I use this pencil right here. It's like an H5, a 5H pencil. So basically, any number 2 pencil works, but I got these these cool pencils, and basically it's like lighter than a regular one, so I just use the decently light one. So I tend to push down hard when I draw my pencil, so I wanted one that draws a little bit lighter, so that's what I ended up doing. It's really just all preference, but any pencil really works. I don't usually use mechanical pencils like this one because it tends to like puncture the paper too much or like hard to erase, so yeah. And I also always use a click eraser. I have a big click eraser, and then the skinny one. I got it so long ago, I don't remember where I got it from, but you guys can see the brand and all that. It's like this nice skinny one that's good for fine details and stuff. It's pretty nice. And then for markers, for markers, I use these. I use microns. So I use the 1 micron for the smaller details, but for the main outline and tracing, like to draw the border right here and to color in the card, I use this 5-1 because it turns out pretty nice. It smudges a little bit, so I would always wait for it to dry before you color it in. As you can see right there, I didn't wait a little bit, but it dries in like, I don't know, 7-10 seconds, and after using it for a while, at first it got used pretty quickly, but now it dries pretty nicely. So you guys can see the tips right here. This is the 5. This is the 1, as you can see, much thinner. So I use this one for smaller details. Like if I want to add a little, like, I don't know, like a crease, if it wasn't like a robot. If I wanted to add like a crease, then I end up using the 1 micron marker in order to add the tiny details. And yeah, so next up, I'm going to move on to colored pencils. So as you can see, I made the background with colored pencils. For them, for the shadows, I usually use a black colored pencil right here, and I use it to color in the side of the cards. As you can see, like the side of it all around right here is all just completely blacked out, so this entire black edge thing right there, and it looks pretty nice. So next up, for the, I guess, other colored pencils that I use, let me just grab this. I have this giant container right here with all these drawers inside of it, and I use a bunch of these. So I mainly use erasable colored pencils because when I use it, it's nice because you can erase it afterwards if you mess up and don't end up liking it. Look what I can do with my pencil. Pretty cool. Anyways, if I don't end up liking it, then I can always just like erase it if I don't end up liking it. And yeah, so I also use these sometimes, not anymore, but I used to use these thin Artist Loft markers. They worked pretty nicely for small details, but now what I mainly use is, let me just get this right here, Copic markers. So let me just throw these aside so I can grab my Copics. So basically, if you guys don't know about Copic markers, they're kind of expensive, but just get them for Christmas or for your birthday. That's what I did, and it turned out pretty cool. So these are Copics. Some of them are Artist Lofts, but most of them are Copics. So let me just grab one right here so you guys can see it. It has one side is a chisel tip, which is like for more fine details, almost like a highlighter, but not exactly. And then the opposite side is a brush tip. So for the brush tip, I recently learned a new technique for blending colors together. I just looked up some tutorial on YouTube, and I ended up doing that for about the last couple months now, and I'll make a video. There'll be a speed art in this video where I talk about that technique, and coloring with Copics, and so hopefully that'll be helpful. And then another thing is I originally got a 12 pack of Copic markers, and then I bought a nature pack and an earth tone pack, something like that. And then after that, I also bought some individual one at Michael's when I would still go there. And yeah, so you can get these at Michael's or Amazon. Artist Lofts are specifically like Michael's brand, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, they're pretty good also. They kind of, sometimes they wear away, but they're like a good equivalent to Copics, I would say. And then also, a lot of you guys don't get to see this in my videos. I thought I'd show it to you. To hold all my main tools, I like to have a convenient way to grab them, like my pencils and all that, and erasers. So I put them inside this Lego cup I got from Legoland like a long time ago. It looks pretty nice, and if you guys don't know, the main thing that I think you'll definitely need is these shades of gray. So I own a lot of shades of gray. I bought like a shades of gray Copic pack. So we have a, let's see, this is all I use: a neutral gray 1, neutral gray 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. So I tend to use a lot of gray when I make my homemade cards. So I end up having to use like a really light one or a really darker one. And it always comes in handy. I also own some Artist Loft grays, also like the 8 and the 6. So just in case you guys are wondering, because a lot of you guys ask about my gray markers and what I do for them. So now you guys know. And it kind of just fits in here nicely, kind of messily, but it still does the job. And then I also use this white pen right here, which is what I use to add white highlights if I ever have to. I don't really do that often, but if I ever have to, this is what I use, and it turns out pretty cool. And then for deck boxes, because a lot of you guys ask about deck boxes also, we have this Ultra Pro deck box that I decorated. All you have to look up is Ultra Pro deck box, and you'll be able to find it. In case you guys want to see more tutorials like this, there's a whole tutorial playlist that I created. It has how to make a homemade, the first version of how to make a homemade card game. It shows how to make booster boxes, booster packs, and yeah, so it's pretty good. And hopefully you guys did enjoy this video and enjoy the speed art. And now we're starting the speed art portion. So first off, the first thing I do is draw my border of my card in pencil. And before this video continues, I just want to say, make sure not to copy my cards or other people's cards. It's not cool. And yeah, so here we go. I'm just showing you guys what I'm doing. So first off, you want to come up with your own unique design for the border right here. So when you're creating your card, you want like a nice template, something that shows like the name and the power and defense in a clear, nice, easy way. I make all my cards by hand, so that's what the tutorial is going to be showing. And yeah, so when creating creatures, you can always get inspiration from other people, but try your best not to copy it directly. It's never a good idea. It's the best way to improve your artwork is just experimenting with your own ideas, and it usually turns out pretty cool. So for this artwork right here, I decided to go with the dragon, and I was trying to do a interesting like a quarter view angle of a dragon. So that's what I was working on for this video, because I want to get better at drawing quarter views for dragons and creatures, and I think it turned out pretty nicely. So as you can see, it's not perfect the first try, but yeah. So I had a general idea for this card for what I wanted. I kind of wanted to draw a basic body shape. In case you guys are wondering how I think of ideas, because a lot of you guys ask, it's good to just have like I have my phone on, and I always write down in my notes if I have any ideas that come into my head throughout the day. Like sometimes I'll look at a pencil that looks funny and I think, oh, that kind of like that design reminds me of like a drill or something like that. And then I think of a card idea, so I kind of just note it, and that kind of helps out. But most of the time, I kind of just think of what I want to draw, and then it kind of just happens, I guess. I kind of draw something random, and I think, oh, cool, that looks like this, and then I end up drawing it. So yeah. For this card, I just decided to draw a basic dragon, because last tutorial I showed any card like that I just made up. I wanted to show a dragon for this one, just so because a lot of you guys ask how I draw my dragon, so I tend to just draw a cool looking body, and then I add something specific to it. Like for this one, I made it so everything was all like shocked like or a little furry looking, so that was the idea behind it. And in case you guys are wondering, I always draw in pencil first, and then when I'm all done, I trace it with my Micron markers, because that works the best in my opinion. And yeah, so I'm just tracing the body right now. As you can see, I made the random spikes and everything protruding from different places, and it ended up looking pretty cool because it looks like it's messy kind of, but it's like it's gonna be a light type, so it's kind of like it got electrocuted or shocked or something. And feel free to turn your card in different angles. As you can see, I'm turning it in different angles, so it'll be easier for me to trace and color and all that. And right there, I just off camera, I blew my card and put it in front of a little fan I have just so the ink dries a little bit quicker before I erased it. And next up, I'm just choosing my colors right now. So I end up using 3 tones. So the first one you want to do is your lightest shade. So I color everything in a light shade of yellow. This is a new technique I recently learned a couple months ago. So here you go. So you just trace everything you own with your light shade of yellow. That's why I have a scratch piece of paper in case the tip gets like not infected, but if the tip gets a little bit of black ink on it, you can always just rub it off on your paper over there. So here we go, I'm just coloring everything in yellow. Then after that, you want to grab your medium tone. So I have 3 tones of yellow, so I grab the slightly darker shade of yellow. And the first thing I'm doing right there is I'm thinking about where the light's coming from. So I'm making it's coming from the upper left is the sun. So I decided to shade in everything on the right side so that then it gets a little bit darker on one side of the card. And after you color it in, you want to blend it in with the lighter tone. So by pushing inward and outward, you kind of create a nice Copic marker blend to it. Then you can tone it down how like vibrant the color looks. That's what I ended up doing. This will probably work with most markers. I forgot to say I also use Spree artist markers sometimes that my friend gave me. They're pretty cool also for another brand that was pretty nice. So yeah, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just toning down all the main colors so it isn't like super vibrant yellow. So now it's just a little bit darker, or not as dark I would say, I guess. So it kind of blends in nicely. And after you go in with your medium tone and you finish coloring everything with your medium tone and spreading it out, what I do after that is I go in with the dark yellow over here, or I guess I went in again with the medium yellow a little bit for the mouth and colored it in black because it's like the inside of the mouth. And then here you go with your darkest shade of yellow to add the ultra dark highlight to, or the dark shadow to it, which is similar to going over with the black colored pencil, but I ended up doing this because it just looks a lot smoother than using a black colored pencil, I've noticed. But the black colored pencil always works fine also. It depends how I'm feeling. And this video is 3 times the speed of what it actually was, so don't draw this fast when you're actually doing. So I usually only draw 1 card I usually only draw 3 cards a week, so I don't draw that fast. So make sure not to force your artwork. If you're not feeling like drawing, don't try and feel like you have to, then it becomes like homework or something like that. Just do it whenever you feel like drawing or when you're relaxed and you want to draw. That's what I end up doing, and make sure not to rush it either, because like I said, this video is 3 times the speed of a normal drawing. It took 27 minutes to make it, which is a good amount of time, I would say, you know. I didn't go too quickly, just a decent amount. So that's where I draw the type in right there. So it's a light type, and then I color it in, and then the tip got a little infected, so I went over it like over and over again because it got a little bit dirty, but I fixed it. And then here we go. So I was going to color in the background with another Copic marker because I was thinking, would they want to see me use a Copic marker in the background, or would they want to see me use a pencil in the background, like a color pencil? Because, you know, that's one of the #1 questions that you guys probably have. So I decided in the end to use the Spree markers that I was mentioning earlier to make clouds because, you know, I want to use all the materials that I went over in the video. So here we go. I'm using clouds. The Spree markers are nice because it's a chisel tip, and then the other side is like a really thin tip, so it's all pretty cool. And I got it, well, my friend gave it to me for my birthday a while ago, so I don't really know where I got it, but it's cool. And then I'm just tracing everything with the light gray right here. And then after that, I went in with my darker shade of gray in order to add shadows just to the clouds. So I added this little darker tone right there. I added to one side of the clouds, and then after that I added in the even darker one for the very edge of it, and I colored that in again. I went over it with the lighter tone in order to like blend them both in together, and it made a pretty cool looking effect, I think, just spreading out the shadow nice and even. And there we go. So don't feel afraid to just use the scratch piece of paper a lot, because again, it's just a scratch sheet of paper, so it's pretty helpful. I make almost all of my cards on the same scratch sheet of paper I've been using for 3 years, besides this one because I wanted a blank one that didn't look all dirty and hard to look at, so that's why I ended up using a different scratch sheet of paper. And here I go, just coloring with color pencils. I'm not really the best at using color pencils, but I try my best to blend it in and all that because I want to not have like scribble scrabble, so it turned out pretty good, I think. So what I'm doing right now is making a darker side on one side of the card because I wanted to add a shadow effect, or, you know, a variance with the colored pencil. So I'm making it a little darker on one area, then I'm just making it gradually lighter as it goes in, trying my best to make it blend in everywhere, which was kind of hard to do because I don't use colored pencils that often, or at least this technique, but I wanted to try it out because I thought it would be fun to try and make an effect with it, so I'm just evening everything out. As you can see, even at 3 times speed, this took a long time. I remember doing this in real life, and it took a while, so nothing goes by really quickly. So now I'm just thinking of the name, so I was thinking, what does he look like, you know? So I decided to name it Jolt Dragon, because it's like, he's been, like, hit by lightning, it's like a jolt, you know? Something cool like that. And then after that, I just went over everything color pencil again just to make it look even better. And then I decided to make him a rare stage 2 card, I think. Yeah, stage 3. Wow, I made him a rare stage 3 with defense of 500 and power let's see, I do 300. And his effect is, by paying 2 tokens, you can summon him when your opponent battles your health directly. So when you're getting attacked directly, you can summon him straight from your hand by playing 2 tokens, which is a pretty decent effect. I like to keep it simple most of the time, or create fun effects like this. You don't have to put an effect on every card. That's not so that your game isn't super confusing, but still like some unique fun abilities. So to make it a little bit more vibrant or make your game a little bit more exciting, I guess. So there we go. I just put it in the card sleeve, and that is Jolt Dragon. Hopefully you found this how to make a homemade trading card game video helpful. And if you did enjoy this video and you want to see more videos, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Bye guys. Okay, I'm just gonna add this in at the end because I forgot to say this during the video. I made this video for my 3,000 subscriber special. So 3,000, oh my gosh, I never thought I would get this many subscribers. So thanks so much. My videos have been doing so well recently, so thanks so much for all the support that I've been getting. And I really couldn't have done this without you. So yeah, just thanks, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video.